SpaceX SPCX, the biggest IPO in the history of the stock market. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm doing with it, when I'm buying, how much, and why I think we haven't even seen the beginning of this run yet. I'm also going to correct some stuff that's flying around out there, some bad math, some bad takes. Because if you're going to put real money into this thing, you need real numbers, not hype, not panic, real numbers. Let's get into it. Let's start with the facts. SpaceX, ticker SPCX, priced at $135 per share on June 11th, 2026, raising $75 billion. That is the largest IPO in history. Day one, June 12th, it closed at $161, up about 19.3% on day one alone. Now, a lot of people look at that and say, oh, it popped, it's done, it's overbought. And I want to ask those people one question. Did you look at the float? Because here's what most retail investors completely missed. SpaceX only released approximately 4% of total shares into the public market. The IPO was oversubscribed roughly 2x, meaning there was around $150 billion chasing only $75 billion worth of shares. When you have that kind of demand chasing that little supply, a 19% pop on day one isn't a bubble. It's basic math. Now, does that mean the price is fair at current levels? That's a different question. But the people calling it a top on day one, they didn't do their homework. Okay, this is the part that matters most for your buying strategy, and I'm going to break it down clearly. SpaceX did not do a standard 180-day lockup. They did something much more sophisticated, a staggered, tiered lockup that's unlike almost anything we've seen from a major IPO. Here's how it works. First release. After Q2, earnings mid-July to September timeframe, early insiders can sell up to 20% of their eligible shares starting the second trading day after Q2 earnings are released. That is the first major supply event. Performance trigger plus 10% bonus release. Here's an interesting one. If the stock trades 30% or more above the IPO price, that's $135 plus 30%, so roughly $175.50 for 5 out of 10 consecutive trading sessions before the Q2 earnings release. An additional 10% of eligible shares unlock early. That's a conditional accelerator baked into the filing. Staggered time-based releases, 5 tranches at 70, 90, 105, 120, and 135 days post-IPO. Up to 7% of eligible shares can be released at each interval. That's up to 35% additional shares dripping in over roughly 4.5 months. Second major cliff, after Q3 earnings. After the Q3 earnings call, up to 28% more of eligible shares can be sold. Put all of this together, and you're looking at a scenario where, over the 180-day period, the public float could expand dramatically from that initial 4%, potentially by 4x to 6x. That is a lot of new supply hitting the market. One important note from the filing: Elon Musk himself is locked up and cannot participate in any of the early release provisions. He stays locked up regardless. Now, does this mean the stock crashes? Not necessarily, but it does mean smart money is watching these dates very carefully. And you should be too. Here's the catalyst that a lot of short sellers are completely ignoring right now, and it might be their biggest mistake. NASDAQ changed their rules effective May 1st, 2026. Under the new methodology, any company ranked in the top 40 by market cap can enter the NASDAQ 100 after just 15 trading days of being listed. They eliminated the prior minimum float requirement for fast-track entry. SpaceX qualifies. That puts inclusion around July 6th, 2026. What does that mean? It means every fund that tracks the NASDAQ 100, and we're talking about funds with approximately $1.4 trillion in total capital tracking that index, has to buy SpaceX. Not because they want to, because the rules of the index force them to. That's mechanical, algorithmic, forced buying. Current estimates put that NASDAQ 100 forced buying at roughly $22 to $27 billion. That's on top of Russell 1000 inclusion, which is coming later in the year. The S&P 500? That's off the table for now. S&P Global confirmed on June 4th, 2026 that they're maintaining their existing rules. including profitability requirements. SpaceX posted a net loss of approximately $4.94 billion in 2025, so they won't qualify until at least mid-2027 at the earliest, and only if profitability improves. So you've got a very specific window here. Inclusion tailwind from the NASDAQ 100, followed by increasing supply pressure from lockup releases. That's the tension every smart investor needs to understand. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the merger question. Is SpaceX going to merge with Tesla? I want to give you the actual picture, not just hype. Here's what we know as of today. The companies are already deeply entangled operationally. SpaceX spent over $500 million on Tesla Megapack power cells in 2025. Tesla made a $2 billion equity investment in xAI in early 2026, and those shares later converted into SpaceX holdings when SpaceX acquired xAI. Both companies are jointly building the Terafab facility, a planned $55 billion chip fabrication plant in Austin targeting AI and robotics infrastructure. On IPO day itself, SpaceX President Gwynne Shotwell told CNBC that a merger might make Elon's life a little easier, actually. She acknowledged there's no question there are synergies between Tesla and SpaceX in our futures and talked about a convergence. Wedbush analyst Dan Ives has publicly placed the odds of a Tesla-SpaceX combination at 80 to 90% by early 2027. Prediction market platform Polymarket puts it around 52% by May 2027. That number has been rising, but here's what you need to understand about the mechanics. Musk holds about 85% of SpaceX's voting power through a super voting share class. So if a merger happens, he doesn't need SpaceX shareholders to approve it on his end. Tesla is a different story. He holds around 20% equity there, and Tesla shareholders would have a say. The governance complexity here is real. The bottom line, I think convergence is likely over the next 2 to 3 years. The infrastructure is already being built together. The question is terms and timing, and that's where things get complicated for investors. All right, this is why you're here. What am I actually doing short term? Right now, I'm paying close attention to the NASDAQ 100 inclusion date around July 6th. The forced buying event from index funds is real, it's mechanical, and the low float amplifies every move. If you believe in the supply-demand setup, that's a near-term catalyst. Medium-term, the danger zone. After inclusion, I'm being very careful, because what follows is the first major lockup release, the Q2 earnings trigger, where up to 20% of eligible insider shares can be sold. These are people who have been in this company since 2002 in some cases. They've been locked out of their money for years. Some of them will sell, not all of them, but enough to create meaningful downward pressure. I'm also watching the performance trigger level. If this stock gets to roughly $175.50 and holds there for 5 out of 10 sessions before Q2 earnings, that 10% extra release kicks in. That's more supply coming faster, long term. My real play, my primary long-term buying is going to happen after I see how the lockup releases play out. I want to see what happens when that first big wave of insider supply hits the market. That potential dip, whenever it materializes, is where I plan to add significant long-term positions. Here's my reasoning. The Starlink business alone generated $11.4 billion in revenue in 2025, with roughly 63% adjusted EBITDA margins. That's one segment of a 3-segment company. The launch business is the infrastructure. The AI and macro-hard division is the moonshot. If SpaceX executes on even a fraction of what's in their S1, the long-term case is compelling, but valuation matters. And right now, with a $1.75 to $2+ trillion valuation and approximately $4.9 billion in net losses last year, you are paying for the future, not the present. That's fine. Just be honest with yourself about what you're buying. My personal goal, build a meaningful long-term SpaceX position through a combination of swing trades and long-term accumulation. Every dollar I make, swing trading this volatility goes toward building that core long position. The bears are right about one thing. A wave of insider selling is coming. It's not a question of if, it's when and how much. Anyone pretending the lockup schedule doesn't matter hasn't read the S1, but the bears are wrong about the timing. You do not short a stock going into a $22 to $27 billion forced buy event from index funds. That's fighting the tape with bad timing. The bulls are right about the vision. SpaceX is genuinely building infrastructure that could matter for decades. Starlink's growth, the launch business, the AI layer. This is a company with real assets and real revenue, not a concept stock. But the bulls need to respect the valuation reality. This is priced for perfection right now. If CapEx spending, which annualized to approximately $40 billion in Q1 2026, doesn't eventually convert to positive free cash flow, the stock will struggle regardless of the story. The smart play is to respect both sides, trade the volatility in the near term, build long-term positions at better prices when the supply events create them. Bottom line, SpaceX is the most important IPO I've seen in my career. The supply-demand dynamics are unlike anything we've seen. The index inclusion is a real near-term catalyst, and the long-term thesis is genuinely compelling. But this is not a set-it-and-forget-it stock right now. You need to understand the lockup schedule. You need to watch the inclusion dates, and you need to have a plan for when that insider supply hits the market. I'm going to keep bringing you these updates as the dates get closer. If you're finding this valuable, hit subscribe, drop a comment below, and tell me, did you get IPO shares? How many? What platform? What's your strategy? I want to hear from you.